Well, it's all about the price of college sports. It deals with, a system that's been around for 60 or 70 years that has had total control.
The NCAA, it's a brand. It's a corporation that's basically capitalized each of these athletes individually, and they've generated revenue off these performances. Compared to the pros, it's very similar. It's entertainment. It's a show.
70s, where Nike got into the universities and started paying coaches and then paying universities so that their swoosh could be all over the university. We have to remember that money never filtered down to the actual entertainers, the players, and the students.
Pay college athletes? Players who keep getting harmed in this industry. That's what the college industry is about $1 billion, maybe a little bit more than that. What's the latest?
Well, yeah, maybe 10 times that.
Oh, really?
It is escalating, and there's no way of really adding up all of the sponsorships as well as the ticket sales and the TV deals. But once
the NCAA has rules against these athletes. They're not allowed to be compensated by large companies or corporations. And in reality, these companies are trying to sponsor large schools, and they want their logo everywhere. But they never really factor in that none of the money trickles down to the actual players themselves.
Away from school, participating in tournaments, and then to say, well, we're giving you an education. They might be giving them a diploma, but that's a lot different than an education.
Well put, well put. And where can we see schools?
Regarding who can pay the athletes, this causes problems because now the athletes are looking for ways to avoid all their rules, and it just gets them in trouble in the end. Take Reggie Bush.
Amazing stories that are out there because the system needs to be changed. It's an old system, and the NCAA has controlled it since the 50s.
For example, USC running back, 2005 Heisman Trophy winner. He had a very successful college career. People found out that he was receiving what they think about $1,500 a week. He was being put in luxury hotels. He pretty much had it made. I mean, compared to the rest of the athletes, and it just brings corruption to the game. So if
you have to understand also that free ride is only a one-year contract. It's not a full ride, and what that contract says is that they're promising an education, and I think that's what the bottom line is here, whether or not an athlete can actually get an education when they're required to fly all around the country, sometimes spend as much as 3 weeks or
In about a year, the NCAA makes roughly around $6 billion, all from video game sales, jersey sales, and just just basically commercializing each of these teams and players individually. A new movement has started on the fields and on the courts called the All Players United, and this is for these players who feel that the NCAA hasn't fully fulfilled their duty in basically servicing these athletes, and they believe that compensation isn't really a requirement, but for the amount at stake for these athletes, maybe it should be something to be considered.
The NCAA would just think of a fair system where all these players could be compensated fairly. There would be nobody trying to duck the NCAA rules. Wouldn't have to sanction certain teams and get certain players in trouble for illegally receiving benefits.